Now it's time to start adding audio narration to your digital story. Come down to the Next button, click Next. You'll notice that the heading at the top of the window says Narrate your pictures and customize motion. Okay, over here, this is your basic recording controls. This larger circular button with a red dot is the Record button. Next to it is the Stop, and the smaller button here with the curved arrow is delete the narration. It takes the narration away if you didn't like that take. Audio gets attached directly to each picture, so when you are narrating, understand that each picture that you're adding narration to must be highlighted. Any words that you speak while you're recording will be connected to specifically and only that picture. Also, when you go to click record, state the sentence from the narration, but before you click stop, leave about a count of 2 seconds of dead space. This is just good practice with this application because when it gets into the next couple of steps, when the pictures transition from one picture to the next, you need a little bit of dead space because the audio tends to fade out and fade in when it changes from one picture to the next in the timeline. I'll demonstrate. This is my dog Bo. This is him as a puppy. Okay, once you've recorded and stopped, preview it. Click the preview button to see what it did. This is my dog Bo. This is him as a puppy. Okay, so that looked pretty good. You'll notice that it already was sort of zooming in and out and panning left and right. That's what we're going to talk about next. Now we're going to talk about motions and transitions. So you need to come over here to the editing function labeled Customize Motion. Click on this button. It's going to open a new window. You'll notice that there are 2 tabs, one called Motion and Duration, which is what we're looking at now, and another called Transition. Let's start with Motion and Duration. Motions refer to how the still picture can now pan across the screen, tilt up and down, zoom in and out. It can add an interesting effect to the appeal of your video. So it's good to use motions. To be able to affect the motion, you first have to click on this and put a check in this box. You'll now notice that the cropped area that you start with now has those little dots again. You have a start position on the left and an end position on the right. So what it does is something like this. Let's say we want to do a zoom in. We're going to start with a wide picture, a wide shot of Bo as a puppy, and then we're going to zoom in just to Bo's face as the end position. So it goes from a wide shot to a very close-up shot. To see what I'm talking about, preview it real quick. This is my dog Bo. This is him as a puppy. Okay, so that works pretty well. You can see how it goes from a wide shot to a close-up. Let's say you want to pan from left to right. We can start with the box slightly heavier on the left and get the box about the same size, or approximately as much as you can, and make it a little heavier on the right. Then preview it, and it'll now look as though Bo's face is panning. This is my dog Bo. This is him as a puppy. Okay. To reverse the actions, to go in the opposite direction, you would move the boxes in inverse position, or the opposite positions. Alright, if you want to change how long the picture is displayed on the screen, you can change it by clicking on this circular radio button, and it's automatically set, which is why it had set duration automatically as a default. But if you want to change it and make it longer, you can move the seconds up or down. If you want to make it quicker, let's move it down. Well, I can't move it down, and that's because we've already recorded narration, which took obviously almost 7 seconds, or 6.9 seconds. So let's say I want to take a little bit more time. I'll bump it up to 7.9 seconds, and it gives me a little more time to play with. And it'll, in this case, move slower across the screen. This is my dog Bo. This is him as a puppy. Okay. So that gives you a pretty good idea of how to use motion and duration. Now let's talk about transitions. Transitions are how the image fades from one picture to the next. Now this is the first picture, so it's going to start with a black screen, and it's going to fade into the full version of Bo. And this is the example of the transition here. This is called a fade in. You'll notice here it's highlighted. Let's say we change it though to a diamond coming outwards. Watch what it does now in this area. It moves a diamond shape outwards from black to a full picture of Bo using a diamond shape as an opening shape. You can do many different kinds. Let's try flip counterclockwise. And you can see what it does. So you should experiment with these to try out different transitions. You should use these. It again gives a very good visual appeal to your overall project. Now let's say we want to move from Bo to the next picture. Now it has Bo over here on the left and the second picture, two puppies, on the right. And you can see the example how it changes. Again, experiment. Try different transitions to see which one works best for the content that you're trying to describe. So these arrows allow you to move forward and back through the timeline here. When you're done with your transitions, your motions, and your durations, click Save. And then close. Alright. Now we can preview it. This is my dog Bo. This is him as a puppy. Not too bad. On to the next step. Okay, let's move on to the next section. In the next section, we're going to talk about adding background music. As you can see here in the top blue row header, it says add background music. There's two different ways that you can add music to your digital story. You can either select music that's pre-made by clicking select, go to your iTunes library and select it. It's pretty simple. You click open, you navigate, you select the file, and you click save. Okay, so that's one method. A second method is to create your own music, which is some digital music that the computer creates for you. You can select it by genre, classical, country, dance, funk, or jazz. Let's go with funk. Then it has style. You can go with slow, and in that case, you have specific ways of narrowing down the music to get it to sound more appropriate to what you want. So you could click on electric, you could click on somber. Tempo is how fast or slow the music is. Intensity means how loud or strong the music sounds. We'll make it lower, and you can preview what you've got right here by clicking on play. Okay, now obviously, you're going to need to go through this and see what works best for you before you select your music. Once you've got what you like, though, click OK, and you'll now notice that the music, which is labeled as you selected it, is in this row just above your timeline. Let's say you change your mind about your music selection. You can go to the picture that now has this little musical note icon down here, right mouse click on it, go down to Music, and go to Delete. That gets rid of the music if you didn't like it. We're now on to the last section of creating your digital story. In this case, you've already recorded all your narration, you've added motions, changed the duration, added transitions, and added music. So you're ready to save your story and export. So, of course, at the top it says save your story. Now, it gives you different options on the quality and the resolution of your film when it gets exported. I strongly recommend that you use this, Save Your Story for Playback, on your computer. When you highlight this, it gives a description of the quality down here. It tells you that it's intended for computers, and it's going to be 640 pixels wide by 480 pixels tall, which is a medium-sized resolution and is not too large, yet not too small. So, another thing that you need to do is change the name right here where it says Photo Story. It always defaults to calling your exported film a photostory.wmv, which is Windows Media Video. Give it a name like first initial of your first name and full last name, .wmv. Click on Browse to make sure you know where you're saving it. Show it. Tell the computer where you're going to save it. So in this case, I'm going to go to my folder that I've created for my digital story. And then click Save. Okay, one last thing I recommend is clicking on this Save Project button right here. Click Save. Now what this does is it saves all the work that you've done. Now this is in a WP3 format. That means this is a project file. This is all of the things that you've just done. So I'm going to give it first letter of my first name and full last name .wp3. So this saves my work, and again I'm going to go down to the folder where all my work should be stored for the digital story. I'm going to click Save. It's going to save the project. You just saw that. Now that we've saved all the changes that we've made and we've set all of the export settings and we've made sure that the exported file will have a name that refers to my project and the exported Windows Media Video, it's time now to click Next to export it in WMV format. Click Next. It's now going to build the story, mix the audio, it's going to compress it, and it's going to save that WMV file. It's going to take a moment or so to process, and then it gives you an option at the end. It'll tell you the file name, it'll tell you where it's located, it tells you the size, and you can either view your story or create another story, or you can exit.